Hello and welcome to a new video. Today is Monday the 24th of October 2016. It's 2243 minutes Central European time. So there I was doing some work on all kinds of topics, including some work for Thailand. I was working on the tobacco monopoly of Thailand, the tobacco monopoly of Thailand. Found me a new place for the headquarters in Dresden. Magnificent building. There is no place in all of Thailand so suited to be the headquarter office of the tobacco monopoly of Thailand. And believe it or not, I was just happily retouching some of the pricing of the state brands and whatnot, and thinking about how the private players will be fed into the monopoly, you know, Philip Morris and all of those other companies. When on the internet doing a bit of research, I was looking at data, and one click led to the next, as it goes sometimes on the internet. And the next thing you know is I arrive at Erasmus of Rotterdam. And I figured he figured something. See, so let me explain this to the obscene filth of Faex Mundi out there. Those people who utilize inhumane technologies to completely and utterly enslave and manipulate mankind. Erasmus of Rotterdam, for those who don't know him, he was a humanist, or if you want to call him that, the saning Dutchman, because there was someone sane, okay? Once more, what does sane mean in this context? Let me take you to this here. This is a diagram illustrating what sanity, absanity, and insanity is. The slightly novel aspect to this is that previously people had not figured out absanity. They just thought sanity and insanity and tried to make sense of the phenomena therein, wherein in fact it's three concepts, so to speak. And here, it's not that all obscene people out there are Faex Mundi, but all Faex Mundi are obscene. Okay, that is a very important distinction to be made. Matter of fact, not even all Faex Mundi are obscene, because some actually come out of this here part of the trans-obscene. Believe it or not, I actually in the hot phase had some of those people in here connected. No shit. But for the most part, they come out of the obscene part of this diagram. So all Faex Mundi are obscene, with the exceptions that state the rule who are trans-obscene. Not all obscene people or even trans-obscene people are Faex Mundi, though. Faex Mundi are those who utilize inhumane technologies and or work as willing executioners for them. Quick reminder. Now, back to Erasmus von Rotterdam. He was a humanist, the saning Dutchman, who wrote something called Adagia, which was published in 1500, no shit, so that's quite a while ago. And that was basically just a collection of sayings, and today you'd call them one-liners, and one adage after the other. And one of them was caput vacuum cerebro. Latin, because they were all doing shit in Latin then, caput vacuum cerebro, which is his way of perfectly identifying obscenity. Just that he didn't know that it was obscenity, and society whole, mankind whole, had not advanced the necessary fields to actually figure not just the symptoms, but actually the consequences and the disease, so to speak. He just noted the symptoms, so to speak. And he called it caput vacuum cerebro, which itself is based on Aesop's observatory work, which turned into a fable. And that was 2,000 years prior to that even, okay? Just for completeness sake. Now, caput vacuum cerebro, wonderful, wonderful way of paraphrasing obscenity. CVC, okay? So you go to CVC, which of course means you go to CVC Roman numerals. And I mention this because I know that a lot of you fucking delusional people out there are all crazy about numerology and all manners of shit like that. So I figured, you know, let's do it your flavor. CVC in Roman numerals means 195. Now, if you were to take 195 individually, so to speak, at representing the letters in that order, you get AIE. And that is a magnificent abbreviation for abstain individual eliminated, or in German absanes Individuum eliminiert. Und ja, das heißt absan. Dieses Wort absan kann man ähnlich konjugieren wie zum Beispiel heil, nämlich im Sinne von klein geschrieben heil, nicht falsch versteht, wie zum Beispiel, dass der Zürich Kosmosmann, für die Leute, die sich erinnern, den kaputten Fernseher wieder heile macht. Ja? Absan kann man ins Deutsche so einpflegen und es wird wohl als technischer Begriff, wissenschaftlicher Begriff so eingepflegt werden, das heißt absanes Individuum eliminiert. This is what they're going to do when they will eventually put an end to you fuckers out there at Faex Mundi and will just, you know, dig up a shallow ditch and hurl your the remains of your carcass into it, and then just let the world know on not really a tombstone as such, but on whatever object they put on there with 3 letters scribbled on there, A-I-E, most probably in your own bloody blood. Hence I chose this rather childish font. Absolute deliberation here. A-I-E stands for abstain individual eliminated. They might just leave your dead body around to rot in broad daylight and write that on your dead body somewhere, but A-I-E are letters that find their way from caput vacuum cerebral, which is really just another way to identify obscenity. There. Now, if you take 195 and add up these 3 individual numbers, you arrive at 15 as a sum. The 15th letter of the alphabet is the O, and of course the uppercase O, which, if you were to do it Latin, would either be Omicron or Omega. Omega might be not, Omicron is actually the 15th, Omega is a later addition to just add some length to the vowel. And if you do that, you arrive with this here, which is, for those who are too lazy to write 3 letters, I can see your dead bodies lying on the wayside with somebody just having made an omega onto your forehead or something like that. Or if they can't be asked to do that, maybe just an O, which is a magnificent visual representation of that very thing here, caput vacuum cerebral. Namely, this is your head and there ain't no fucking brain in it. Caput vacuum cerebral. Now, it gets even more interesting, and sheerly, is there such a word as sheerly in the English language? Because if not, there ought to be. But be that as it may, it gets more interesting if you actually look at Omicron and Omega and what their numeral values are, for those who care about such, in the Greek numeral system. Now, Omicron, which is this, has a value of 70, whereas Omega has a value of 800. And I find, while this is sheer coincidence, I find that those are mind-bogglingly good basic orientation points of the ratio of core Faex Mundi and, so to speak, their willing executioners. People who might have access to computers which operate inhumane technologies and might not have access to inhumane technologies, hardware at least as such. People who might in other ways cater service-wise knowingly to Faex Mundi who have access. So basically, this is the core and proper Faex Mundi, and this is the willing executioners and their infrastructure, so to speak. Namely, both of these numbers, 70 and 800, are very good estimates, I take it, because I've been all these years now, I've been thinking about what the numbers will be like, namely based on 1,000,000. What does that mean? That means, ladies and gentlemen, let's do a little math here. Say America, I think you are at about 350 million people, if I remember that right. And 70 in 1,000,000, which means 350 times 70, gives you, I fuck you not, 24,500 actual Faex Mundi in what the population out there in the world, the unaware people who don't know you secretly declared follow successor states and whatnot shit, believed to be the US of A. 24,500. And this, I shit you not, this number is a very, very, very educated approximation, so to speak. I did not come up with it, I just noted that the number 70 actually is a pretty good approximation of it, actually. 24,500, okay? We are not talking about a handful of people. In the USA, 24,500. As a matter of fact, in the USA, the number might be a little lower than that, because for the most part, their entire population is nothing but slaves, even social class-wise and whatnot. But basically, that's a good orientation. 70 in a million. Or to use different numbers, in ex-Austria, which had approximately 8 million. In ex-Austria alone, 560 actual Faex Mundi. That is the numbers we're talking about. These are actual Faex Mundi. 70 out of a million. And if you want to know the numbers of all of their direct infrastructure, all of their willing executioners and so on, who allow them to continue, we're talking 800 in a million. That is also a pretty good approximation. 800 in a million. Which, for little ex-Austria, 8 million people country as it used to be, spells 6,400. I fuck you not. 6,400 people are, some of them rather remotely, but nonetheless involved directly still in catering to the actual Faex Mundi. 6,400 is the willing executioner category. No shit. And you can do that for America. If you want to get a little shock, 800, and we arrive, I fuck you not, at 280,000. As I said, that number 2 is a wee little too high for America, because America is a sad, 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 sad country. Last night, there was a torture session with a whole lot of what I guess some people call bullshit bingo, which was basically just random ass topics that I was kindly invited to puzzle together into something that doesn't at all make sense. There exists, and very old, that book has been around for decades and decades, there exists a plotting book, which is basically a book where you can randomly decide, say, if you want to write a crime story, who got killed, how did they get killed, and by whom and where and whatnot. And they tried such a bullshit bingo approach yesterday when they tortured me the entire night long, so that I overslept again this morning because they wouldn't leave me in peace until like 3 in the morning or something. And I just want to point out to you that 280,000 is admittedly the max. There is not going to be more than 280,000 willing executioners, and that includes, just to be clear here, that includes, for instance, most of all of the fucking NSA and so on and so forth, okay? 280,000. Out of a million, worldwide average, out of a million, 70 individuals happen to be Faex Mundi. 70 out of a million, which means 7 out of 100,000. You'll find that easier to stomach mathematically. It is not just a handful of people. These technologies have wound up in the hands of, as I said countless times before, pretty much every Tom, Dick, and Harry. 70 out of a million are actual active Faex Mundi with direct access to inhumane technologies and using these technologies. And 800 further out of a million people are their willing executioners who may only have indirect access to inhumane technologies and only might operate those for Faex Mundi without actually having direct access to them as such, but it doesn't change anything. 800 is the number for the willing executioner category. Now, so if you go back to this, how about I decree as prime protector of mankind and sanest man in the world, that this, hence, representing 800, might be reserved for the willing executioner category, and this here, Just an O on your forehead, standing for the obscenity in your fucking thick skulls, is for the actual core Faex Mundi. All of that comes from Erasmus of Rotterdam's Caput Vacuum Cerebro, which basically is just another way of explaining obscenity. They're gonna write this on your makeshift tombstone, and they're gonna write this on your foreheads, Faex Mundi. No shit. Just so you know. And Thailand will have an awesome tobacco monopoly. And also, as a last addendum, I am still getting all manners. That's one of the reasons why I actually mentioned last night. I still am getting all manners of sabotaging and torture, and I still, for the time being, cannot guarantee that I'm unsabotaged enough to actually do a serious, non-stammering explanation video on the diagram. I know that I said I would do it, I just want to explain how comes I ain't done it yet. The mind's liberty from sabotage suffices for little videos like that, or what I put up the other day about the vending machine jackpot, so to speak, but not for a scientifically accurate explanation of the MAC, mind and consciousness systematics. Just so you know. Obscene individuals will be eliminated, and they shall be marked for what they wear at that point, because they'll be pretty dead. And the numbers are 70 in a million being Faex Mundi, and 800 in a million being their willing executioners. That is the amount of people we are talking about having access to inhuman technologies. Just so you know.